No more running. I've seen it. A future with no limitations. A card rises from the middle of the deck. It could be a selected card or a thought of card. It doesn't matter. But no gimmick deck. No threads, no hookups, no elastics. In fact, nothing. Just pure magic. The future is here. Join us. This is the Uprising. Get ready for an absolute miracle with a pack of cards. Borrow any deck and cause cards to rise from the center of that pack, anywhere, anytime. The devious new revised handling can be viewed from any angle. The spectator can examine the deck before, during, and after the effect. Perform one or multiple card rises. It's completely up to you. This DVD includes a one-handed card rise, a two-handed card rise, and more. Throw away your gimmicks. This is the Uprising. You want it? Would you think of one?
Sure.
Well, it's not a full deck, so I'll just kind of flick through and just get a card in mind. I don't know. Did you get one? Did you see one? Or you want to do it again?
Yeah, again. That was really fast.
Sorry.
Okay.
You get one? You're thinking of one?
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to be tough. Can you shuffle this time? Just give them a mix up. Okay. So think of your card. You shuffle. And can you hold it? Whoa, you're shuffling way too much.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. We'll be doing the coin trick again. Wow. Okay, we'll try this. I don't know if it's going to work. Think of your card. Since you're only thinking it's going to be a little more difficult. But put that, if you don't mind, put the handkerchief over my hand. This is so that my hand doesn't even really come in contact with the deck. It's like really kind of fair. See? Okay, just like that. I want you to just think of your card, okay? Okay. Can you grab my wrist and just think of the card, okay? Watch the pack.
If that's my card, I think I just...
Look, I don't even have control over this. I can't even touch the pack. Look. What was the name of your card?
Jack of Diamonds?
Jack of Diamonds. Take a look.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Okay, pull it out. I don't want you to think there's no strings or anything. Check it out. You can take the whole pack. Take it.
Oh my god.
Do me a favor, check out the deck. Make sure there's nothing tricky with it or nothing. Good?
All seems good.
It's good?
Yep.
Check out my hands. Nothing tricky?
Nope.
Good? They're all good?
All good.
Okay. Okay, good. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to think of a card, okay? But it's not a full deck. So, I'm going to flick through kind of like this. And I want you to just, if you see one card that pops out, just remember a card. Okay? Here we go. Did you get one?
Yep.
You're thinking of one. Okay. It's going to be hard because even if if I knew sleight of hand, it doesn't matter because you're thinking of a card. So it's going to be tough. But we're going to try it. We're going to do this. Okay. We're going to use spirits to help us. This is a little crazier. Look, somewhere in the deck right here is your card. Okay. I want you to focus on the deck. Think of your card. I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to try it. Watch close. Think of your card. Watch the pack. Do you see something happening?
Yeah.
Look, one card. Rise up. What's the card you're thinking of? Remember?
As a fifth.
Ace of clubs.
Ace of clubs.
Take a look.
What the fuck? Oh my god.
Hey guys, welcome to the Uprising. We're going to get right into the method right now. To do this effect, it is going to require some sleight of hand. It's going to require practice as well. However, very well worth it because anytime, anywhere, you're going to be able to perform an impromptu rising card from the middle of the deck. I'm going to give you a couple of different methods, a couple of different ways to do this. The majority of the concept here is based on Fred Robinson's original effect, which was published in Pabular, followed very shortly by Eric Mason, published a variation of Fred Robinson's, which most closely resembles this method. And later on, Ken Krenzel and Richard Kaufman, based on that previous work, came up with their own touches on this effect. I've studied all of them. I've been working this effect for 20 odd years, and it's one of those foolers you can do anytime, even for magicians. So, and it's a really, anytime you can create some type of animation with a deck of cards, it's really, really powerful tool to have, because animation is a very kind of impossible effect for people. They can grasp any language, any culture. They understand that things can't move that's not supposed to move. So it's a very magical effect if you present it in a proper way. So let's get into the method behind this. Here is the technique. What I like to do is I control the card to the top. Let's say the selection is the 6 of diamonds, okay? And this way you can false shuffle it if you like. As you're talking, you put the cards down. You don't have to worry about the card because it's right there on top. When you're ready to do the rise, what I do is I slip cut the card, and by slip cut I mean I'm going to cut about half the cards like this, but my thumb is going to stay on top of the top card and pull it back onto the pack. That's a basic slip cut technique. So it's going to pull it back onto the pack. But I'm going to do it in such a way where I pull it back and pull it back even further than the deck. So when this goes back on top, it's jogged to the back of the pack, or it protrudes from the back of the pack. So I'll show you face up. So basically what I'm doing is this and slightly pushing down as I throw this on top. The speed, it looks like this. And the card is protruding from the back of the pack, like so. Okay? So, face down, it's this, and that's it. So to the audience, it just looks like a simple cut, but in effect, you are controlling the card to the middle and leaving it protruding from the back. Of course, I'm doing this casually as I talk to the spectator. I'm not staring at the deck when I do it. We'll show you a view from the front momentarily. You'll see what that looks like. But the basic idea here is that this is done casually. And if you hold the deck like so, when the spectator is looking from this angle, they're not going to see anything. Now, when you're ready to cause the card to rise, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over and I'm going to push the card flush with the deck. Okay, but I'm going to do it on an angle. So I'm going to push in this direction. Okay, when I do that, I end up pushing the card to the side. Now this is a slightly exaggerated push, but basically it leaves the card in this position. Okay, so I'll do that again. In essence, I'm pushing the card to the side like so. Okay, so instead of pushing it flush like this, I'm going to push it, let's get that, like so. I'm going to push it to the side and put pressure. Now when I do this, you're going to notice something kind of neat. Is if you look on the bottom portion of the pack, the card is protruding here, but there is a nice smooth edge right here. That's where my thumb is going to contact this, right there at the smooth edge. Okay. On the other side as well, you'll notice there is a, that's where the card is. You're going to contact it on this smooth edge with my, I hold it with my second finger. So second finger here and thumb over here. If the cards are held in this position, I can hold the deck without affecting the side jog card in any way. In fact, so much so that I can riffle the back of the pack by applying pressure on the bottom and top with my left hand, and then just holding here and pulling up. See, if I tried to do it here, I would end up pushing the card back in the pack, which I don't want to do. So that's why by holding it in those two sweet spots, I can riffle this as much as I want, and I will not affect that side jog card. So this allows for a very kind of smooth, easy handling. And again, thumb is holding it on that spot where it's flush here, and the fingers are holding it on the spot where it is flush here. Okay. So this actually, the deck is pushed in here, so you don't see that very well, but it's actually smooth all along here. You just don't want to hold it there. So in speed, it looks like this. So here, boom, boom, boom. And you're all set. The next move is this. You're going to come over and you're going to push with my palm here of the left hand, just kind of push the cards, just with my palm. And you'll notice what happens. It pushes some cards in the bottom off to the right a little bit, kind of bevels them. And this, what this does basically is it hides this card from view from the front, because if we turn this around, I'm going to apply pressure here so it doesn't move, you'll see that this is what the audience sees. So this bevel of the cards, which is happening here, hides this card from view from the audience, and that's what you want, because this is the card that's going to rise from the center of the deck momentarily. Okay? So again, I'm going to take it from the top. Boom, boom, boom. Now, when I'm doing this, it might look like it's a complicated move, but as you can see in practice, boom, boom, boom. It's fairly simple and easy to get into once you understand the technique. I now apply pressure with my thumb and fingers underneath so that this doesn't move, and I can handle it in my left hand, because the right hand will come away. And I'm now going to reposition with my thumb and first finger and hold it here. Now again, the positioning is important, because if you notice on this side of the pack, again, same as the other side, protrudes here and it's flush on the top. That's where I want to hold it with my index finger. Whereas my thumb is going to hold it, you'll notice on the other side, it protrudes here, but it's flush here. So I'm going to hold it below where it's below the protruding card where it's flush with my thumb on this side, and above it where it's flush with my index finger on the other side. So it's like that. So by holding it like this, I'm not affecting the protruding card, as you can see. So if we come out a little bit, you can see that now I'm holding it quite freely, but that protruding card is still in position and it's not moved in any way. Essentially what's going to happen now is the whole deck is really held between the index finger and thumb. I'm going to push with my pinky up on that protruding card. I'm going to do this slowly. And because of the fact that these fingers, although they're holding the deck, they're not tampering the movement of this card. So there's no friction on the card because of the fact you're holding it at 2 flush points with the deck. You're not, in other words, pinching the card itself. You're pinching the deck, but the card is moving on an angle right through it. So it's able to move frictionlessly, if that is a word, through the pack. So I'm pushing up, try and take this finger out of the way, and I'm going to push up with my pinky as far as it'll go, which is about there. And that essentially is what causes the rise to happen. Now I'm going to show you this again. I'm just going to get into position. And I'm going to show you from the side here. So what's happening is this. It's pushing up, 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 until I can't push up anymore. And there you have the rise. Okay? From a technique point of view, that is essentially the rise itself. It's position it out the back, angle jog it, bevel some cards, put your fingers into position here, and push up with the pinky, and that's what causes the rise. Hey guys, I want to talk to you about some finer points of this effect. You've learned the technique. Now let's talk about really what makes this effect sing, what makes this effect very strong from a layman's point of view. A couple of things from the get-go that I want to discuss is number one, the get ready. The get ready should look really natural. It shouldn't look like you're doing anything. It should look like you're toying with the deck.
and that's it. You don't want to make this look like you're checking things and you're looking down the deck. Keep it casual. So, a get ready might look something like this. So my card is controlled to the top, whether it's a thought of technique or a selected card, whatever it is. So the get ready would be this. It's just as I'm talking to the spectator, boom, bang, and that's it. So that's the get ready. It's casual. You shouldn't be thinking about it. You shouldn't be looking at the deck for sure, and it should just be casual. So whether I want to set up one card, that's one. There's 2 cards. There's 3 cards. Set 3 cards up for the rise, and I'm ready to go. So that's what it should look like. Keep it casual and really practice this so you don't have to think about it. That's the key here. Get down the technique so you don't have to think about it. I know that's my slip cut and the card is jogged out the back. I now push it out the side and I bevel the cards and boom, I am ready. I'm going to do a typical get ready and I'm going to bring the cards down into play here, and I want you to take a close look at the pack. And you're going to notice there's one card that kind of protrudes out of the pack. Okay? That's because of the angle that the card is on. Because the card is kind of angle jogged like that, it's going to naturally protrude out the top of the pack. Now, if you're doing this one-on-one or for a small group where they're really close up, which is my preference, that's how I like to do this effect, I don't like this. I don't want them to see this. So a simple way to get rid of it, I'm just going to take my left index finger, I'm going to run it along the pack as I say something to the extent of your card is somewhere in the pack here, and that's it. So as I run my finger, I'm pushing the card down back into the pack so that now everything is A-OK up here. And it only pushes it minutely so that it does not affect the angle jogged card. Okay, and if we pull out here, the concept here, I want to do this move, so after I've done my get ready, I'm ready here. I'm only going to do the move, I'm going to do the move kind of before they focus attention on the pack. So I've just done my get ready and I say, now your cards are somewhere in the pack. And so I do it straight away as I come down, your cards are somewhere in the pack. Very casual, just refer to the performance to see what I mean. And now you're set up. So now when they're focused on the pack, there is nothing to see. The beauty of the Get Ready is it allows you to do a face-up or a face-down rise on the fly. So in other words, you can choose kind of on the fly while you're doing this, do you want it to be face-up or face-down? And here's what I mean by that. If you're doing your Get Ready, I'm going to back jog a card like so. So I back jog my card as per the regular Get Ready. If I wanted a regular face-up rise, I would continue by angle jogging the card and then beveling some cards out here, and I'm ready for a face-up rise. However, I'm going to get into that same position where I've back jogged the card. If I want to do a face down rise, and all I'm going to do is it's the same thing. At this point I can choose just by turning the pack over. So the whole pack is turned over now. Now when the pack is turned over, now I angle jog the card and bevel the cards on the bottom. So now that brings me into a face down rise position. Let's talk about angles for the one-hand rise. So when you do this rise, ideally I like to do this one-on-one or a small group so you can really kind of place the angles the way you want. The best angle for this rise is, we'll assume the camera is a spectator, so straight on, you would see the pinky. You may see the pinky do some movement here. So what you want to do, here's the angle. The best angle is a slight tilt this way. Okay, just enough. If you look at this in a mirror, you're going to be able to figure this out. A slight tilt will cover the pinky from being seen. Okay, so it's a slight tilt this way. If you're looking in terms of degrees, it's about a 10 to 20 degree turn, like so. The other thing you're going to do is slightly turn this way. And the reason for that is, if you were just here, they may see the pinky pop out when you're trying to pop it. It'll pop out the bottom. So by tilting slightly, it takes that pinky out of play. Also, it focuses attention here where you want it. Say, watch the pack. You can see I'm not going to do any movement other than that card rising. This is a very amazing part of the effect. And when you perform this for layman, you'll see the reactions. The reactions start right here. This is where you're seeing the magic. So really play this up as slowly as possible. Do not move your hands at all. You're going to reach a point in the rise where your pinky cannot move up any further without kind of causing all the fingers to move. In order to camouflage that, you're going to add a little jiggle, and during that jiggle, that will camouflage the movement of the fingers here, and it'll give you a little bit of an extra rise, like so. And now you're complete. The card can be shown, and that is the rise. Again, card is selected or thought of or whatever you want. Card is controlled to the top. In this case, we're going to be rising the ace of clubs. Okay, so boom, card is slip cut in the middle, kick cut out to the side, and boom, the card is set in position. Actually, we're going to do a face-up rise here. Again, I come over here, say your card's somewhere in the middle, and that's the move which pushes the card back inside. And you can see my angle. I kind of tilt it slightly. This is the best angle if I'm going to do a still kind of no misdirection rise. And they see the card slowly rising out of the middle of the deck. Their card. The ace of clubs. Boom and boom. To set this up for a multiple rise, assume the 3 selected cards are on the top. Here's how I do it. I'm going to cut about, let's say, 3/4 of the deck, and I'm going to slip cut that card into it, pop it on top. I'm then going to slip cut, cut about half of those. Again, slip cut the next card, and half of these, slip cut the last card. So we're using the standard technique of slip cutting them, but as you can see by doing this, I've slip cut them into 3 different parts of the pack. And you want to try and get them so that there is a bunch of cards in between each, because that's going to make the rising much easier. Okay? So once you've done that, you're going to use a standard technique of 1 card, but with 3 now. You're going to push out. Again, when you hit that sweet spot, you can riffle the cards, bevel some cards, and now your 3 cards are set up for the rise. So I'm going to come up here, hold the cards in position. Remember, my index finger is going to grab where it's flush here, and my thumb's going to grab where it's flush just under these cards, which is this position. Okay, so from the side, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to push with my pinky. Now, you want to be sensitive with your pinky here. You don't want to smash all the cards. There's my 3 cards. So you could feel right away where that first card is, and you're going to push it slightly up. And that's going to cause your first rise. Card gets pulled out. You're then going to feel down for the second card, which is there. Again, and you want to push. You just want to use the tip of your finger because you don't want to push too much that you grab both cards. You just want that one. So if we pull out a little bit, that will cause the second card to rise. And finally, that third card. Now here you can be a little more lenient with your technique, but that's it. The third card rises out like so. And that is how you get a multiple card rise. What I really like about this technique, it allows maximum flexibility. In other words, if I just want to do a 1-card rise, boom, do a 1-card rise. I want to do 2-card rise, I could set up 2 cards, or I could set up 3 cards right in front of the spectator's eyes. And as you can see, it's just natural. It looks like I'm playing with the pack, but the fact is I've set up all 3 cards ready for the rise. So that's why it's really quite practical. Another interesting thing is this. Sometimes, depending on your routine, you may not want to do all 3 cards rising right after the other. Maybe you want to do a special blend of a routine where 1 card rises, 1 card's in your pocket, etc., etc. Or you want to have 1 card rise and then shuffle the deck a bit, then cause another card to rise. That's what this technique allows you to do, this get ready. So if you want to do just 1 card and then do something else, all 3 cards are on top, but all I'm going to do is set up the first card for a rise with 1 cut. So it's set up. I do my rise, come in, say somewhere in the middle of the deck is your card, concentrate, let's say I'm doing a 2-hander, and boom, 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 the card slowly rises out of the deck. And again, very eerie, very impossible. And again, there are no strings. It's really, I have no control over this. I just sit here and watch it happen. And boom. And now, if this really worked, boom, that's your card. So boom, now I'm still set with the other 2 cards on top of the pack. So I have maximum flexibility. I could shuffle the cards if I want here. You know, I can palm one off and go, oh, and your card's in my pocket, or whatever you want. Or when I want, I can set this up for the second rise. I can say, no, remember, your card is somewhere in the deck as well. Look, same idea, just hold the pack, and boom, the card rises straight out of the middle. You might want to go for a quicker rise there. Boom, done. And again, maximum flexibility. I still have that 3rd card ready, so I can produce it any way I want, or I can set it up for the 3rd rise when I'm ready. I can use the handkerchief. So it allows maximum flexibility, like I said, or you could just set all 3 up for the rise right at the same time, just as I'm talking, and boom, you're ready for the 3-card rise. All 3 cards in the middle of the deck. Boom. Card number 1, come on out. That's yours. And look, no strings, nothing. I just focus attention. Grab my wrists, everybody, whatever presentation you want. And the card slowly rises out. And you really want to play this up. Boom, there's 2 and 3. Again, same thing. You can have the card rise out any way you want. Yada, yada, yada. So this is really kind of a very flexible technique, and one that is very useful in real-world situations. So we're going to use the same 1-card rise, but we're going to do this with a 2-handed technique. And what this is going to do, this is going to allow you to do this in just about any performance angle. So it's going to cut off the angles, allowing you to do this just about surrounded. So this is very practical for a lot of occasions. So same technique, I'm going to down jog the card. I'm going to get it into position. Like so, as per the standard technique, I'm going to hold it in my hands like this. I'm going to, again, smooth out the card on the top here by calling attention to the card. Could be anywhere in the deck. And so now I'm essentially in position as per the regular rise, where I would push it up with my pinky here. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to apply some extra cover. What I'm going to do is my hand is going to come and I'm going to grip it between 2 hands. So if we do this from the side, what's going to happen is I'm going to come around here and essentially block off the angle, the bad angle, which is this pinky. So by doing this, I'm going to allow a very clean rise, and this hand is blocking off the dangerous spot. Now, what's nice is I can actually come away and say, look, no strings, no nothing, and then come back
and continue the rise. So my finger could come away momentarily, then come back and continue the rise. And you can see, even from the back, you're seeing this from, I guess, your perspective. The audience would be out here. But again, even from the side, which is like your worst angle, you're not seeing much. And again, the hand can come out, call attention to the card here, and still cause the rise. So essentially you're seeing the rise just about from every angle by allowing the left hand to cover the dangerous spot. So that is essentially the two-hand rise. It's exactly the same as a one-hand rise, except the second hand covers it, allowing for much more, for much wider angles. And that is it. So again, the things to consider when you're doing this is, again, let's get it ready. So I'm in position here. I start with the fingers covering here. So I start by doing nothing. I just like to get that rise happening at the beginning, because that's one of the most magical moments. Now is when I'm going to provide a little more cover, because it only needs a little bit of movement. So that could be hidden very easily. But now I provide a little more movement and cause a little more of a rise. And again, what I love is to take the hand away, cleanly show it, say no strings, nothing. Come back, and then the hand comes right back into position and carries out more of a rise again and again. So every time I come away, I can actually reposition in a slightly better position each time, allowing to cover up the rise. Notice how my fingers, this finger actually covers up in front here. And again, so very spooky, very eerie, and that is the two-hand rise. This will allow you to do the rise in every possible situation. Completely surrounded, they can be on sides, on front, behind you. It doesn't really matter. All your angles are covered. And the rise can happen in super slow motion. The handkerchief that comes with, I've really picked this out. I had to find, it took me a while to find the perfect silk handkerchief for this. Chose a black silk handkerchief. Because this is kind of non-discreet. You can use this in a cocktail party, walk around, even on the street if you have to. It's not like a vibrant yellow hanky or something. It just looks like something, again, that you don't want to draw too much attention to. It's just a black hank. So, and what's nice about it as well, it's semi-sheer, so it allows you to see through it, but only very slightly. You want a handkerchief that you could see through slightly for certain rises, and yet it's opaque enough that you don't see completely through it. So you get this with your kit, and this technique is very similar to the other technique, of course. You're going to set them up I like to do a 3-card rise with the hank, because if I'm going to go through this trouble of using the hank, I want maximum effect from it, so I'll use a 3-card. So I set up the 3-card rise. There's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, get them ready for the rise. And here's what you're going to do. You have 2 options here. So I'm ready for the rise. My cards are set up. Okay, I'm going to turn my hand over like this, and I'm going to say, this time I don't even want to touch the pack. And that's when I might have introduced the hank before and say, take a look at that. Anything weird? It's just a regular handkerchief. And I have them, let's say, put it over my hand. So everything is shielded here. They put the handkerchief over my hand. Say, I don't even want to touch the pack now. I'm going to grab it, and now what I do is the handkerchief is draped over my hand. I grab the pack as I normally would
So I'm going to show you the other side of the hank. I'm holding it as I normally would between my first finger and second finger along the top of the pack. But I'm doing it in such a way that now it's through the handkerchief. So that's the only difference. It's the same technique, but now you're doing it through the handkerchief. If we pull this aside, you'll see all 3 cards are ready for the rise. So what's going to happen is this. Essentially, I'm going to, if I pull this away, I'm going to do the same rise. I'm going to push up with my pinky to catch that first card. But in doing so, I'm just going to be very gentle, and you'll feel it. I feel that first card right there, okay? And I'm just going to push up on it, same as a regular technique, but now through the hank. So if I want, for instance, I can do this with the whole deck covered. So I can show the deck like this, and now I'm going to push up on that card, and it's going to slowly, this is where the sheer handkerchief comes in. If you zoom in, you can see the card kind of rise up through the handkerchief. This is really eerie for the spectators. And I just want to pull out a bit so you can see the angles on this. Just pull out a little bit here. So again, there's nothing to really see. Even from behind, you don't even know what I'm doing here. You can't tell I'm pushing up on anything. You just see it rise. So I let it rise, and then I stop. I pull this open now. And this is what's really cool. Now I pull this out, and now the full deck is visible. So it's a building routine. First they saw it rise through the handkerchief. Now they're going to see it rise right in front of them. And what's nice here, by pulling the hank back to reveal the deck, I've essentially covered up my fingers. So now not only is the deck covered, my fingers are covered. So I'm going to do that same technique under the handkerchief now, but look, there's absolutely no movement when I push that second card up. I can keep this hand deadly still, and from every angle, they can see that card rise out of the pack. This is something I like to do in a cocktail party setting where I got people all around me, and I can just play this up as much as I want. And boom, boom, boom. Slowly as we want, the card rises, stop, and boom, their card. Third card, you can do the same way. You can put this over again, whatever you want to do. What I like to do, a nice little fun variation, you're going to have to play with this with a spectator to get the right handling on it. I say, look, I want you to actually grab the deck, and I have them put their fingers underneath thumb here, but I say don't hold on too tight, just lightly, because I want you to feel the card rise. Now, with their hand here, I'm still able to do the rise on this side with my pinky. So they're holding on to it. As long as it's not too tight, it will allow enough room for the card to rise. So imagine this. They're holding the deck. The card is rising. At any time, I stop. And here's the cool part. I pull away with a handkerchief. That's totally examinable. They're left with the deck with the card halfway risen out. They pull it out. They see it. They've got the full deck. So everything is totally examinable. You've got a nice building routine with a handkerchief. And it's just a beautiful thing. It's such a fun thing to do. Just throw this handkerchief in your pocket, boom, and away you go. You got an impromptu, impossible building 3-phase rising card anytime you want. On this DVD, I said I would teach you a technique where the thought of card rises from the pack. Now, in fact, it's not an actual thought of card, but in the audience's mind, it really is a card they just thought of, because what you're going to do is you're going to flick through the pack and have them think of any card they see. And they will see one card, which in fact you are going to force. This is a crazy technique I've been using for about 10 years now. It's a great think of a card technique that you can really apply to any card trick. And here's the basic technique. If you zoom in on the pack, I'm going to flick through the cards, and I'm going to have you at home just think of any card you see in the pack. Okay, just think of one. Did you get one? Now, I did that pretty quickly, but I think you're thinking of the 10 of clubs. And the beautiful part is it's the card that's on top of the pack. So what's really nice about this technique is not only do they think of any card, they really get the idea that they thought of a card, but the fact of the matter is
you forced it on them, and it's controlled to the top immediately. So this makes for a very, very cool technique. And the way this is done is very simple. It works, it's like a retention of vision. So the card that you're going to force is going to be the top card. What I do to help this is I slightly bevel the cards like this. So instead of keeping them straight, I bevel them forward slightly. And what I'm going to do is hold my thumb on the end and my finger on this end. I'm going to apply pressure here. And I'm going to come up. And essentially, it's going to require a little bit of an act, but I'm going to flick through the cards. And you're going to have no choice but think of the 10 of clubs. Let me do that again. You think of the 10 of clubs. It's a visual retention of vision. You can't help but think of that last card, the 10 of clubs. It's because it's held there for a fraction of a second longer than the other cards, but the eye can't pick up on it. Now you're going to practice in front of a mirror. I find black cards work better than red cards. And it's just, you're going to practice it. Sometimes you're going to miss it. Sometimes when you look at it in the mirror, you just got to get it down so that when you flick through the cards, you understand how your fingers kind of feel, and you'll feel how that last card just stays a little longer, and you can see it. Sometimes it's a little more obvious, but when you do it properly, it should look like it was just a flash of a card in between the other cards. But the fact is, you are forcing that top card, the 10 of clubs. So this technique will allow you to ask a spectator just think of a card they see, and now the card is on top. And you could immediately go into a rising card with this. You can do a false shuffle, whatever you want to do, but now you could reveal their thought of card. This was created by Ken Krenzel and Richard Kaufman in a booklet called On the Up and Up, written in the 1980s. And so if we come over here for the rise, card somewhere in the middle. The difference between this rise and the other one is this one, your pinky is going to be visible the whole time. So if you're one of these guys that's concerned that, hey, all your fingers aren't showing, well, with this technique you can show them. And basically what's happening, if you look on the side, what's going to happen is your pinky is going to extend, but it's going to, you want to have kind of a bigger, I guess, a protruding card here. So it's going to be angle jogged a little more than usual. And your pinky is going to contact it here instead of here out of view. So now it's here. And in essence, you're basically moving the pinky up. So the pinky is moving up this way, but it's this part of the pinky that's pushing it up, like so. And that's what's causing the rise. Okay? So if we bring it around the front, I'm just going to set it up again. So here, here, here. So there's my pinky. The pinky is moving it up. And now if I just did this, they would obviously see the pinky moving up, and it kind of lacks some magic appeal there. So the way you're going to cover that up is just by giving it a slight movement. So either a jiggle or a circular motion. Ken Krenzel, Richard Kaufman had kind of a circular motion. Even a jiggle works. Anything to, you're basically misdirecting attention from here. So with the jiggle, notice how your eyes are naturally focused on the card, and they're not looking at the fingers, which is weird. Your mind naturally wants to focus on that card. So by the time you get here, you haven't even looked at the fingers really. You've just focused on that card. So that's the key here. To keep the hand moving slightly as you move the fingers up, the finger up. And that, in a nutshell, is the Krenzel-Kaufman rise. When I'm doing this for people, I really like to do the face-down rise. The reason I like the face-down rise, and this is important as well, is it's one thing, it allows the spectator to focus on each individual effect.
So as an example, if the card is rising face up, they're going to see a face up card, which is their selection, rising out of the pack. So they're concentrating on the rise and the fact that it's their card at the same time. So you've got two surprises combined into one, kind of dilute each other. If you have a face down rise, they're going to be able to concentrate fully on that rising card. They don't know what card it is. They're just focused on that card, slowly and eerily rising out of the pack. It's really amazing for them. And then they get, and the anticipation, of course, builds. Then they get turned over, and it's the card they're thinking of. Holy moly! Very, very strong effect. The most magical way to perform uprising is to perform it with a dead still pack of cards. So really you want the fingers and you want the deck to be absolutely dead still, no movement. The only movement they see is that card rising out of the pack. The way you're going to do that is by either angling your pack correctly for the one-hand rise, or by using the two-hand rise or the handkerchief rise. These rises will allow you to keep the pack dead still so that the audience can focus on the very eerie and creepy part where the card rises. Well, guys, that's it. That is Uprising. Obviously, we've discussed a lot of technique on this DVD. My advice, get out there, practice this. You are not going to be disappointed. Trust me. It is a sleight of hand technique. It does require practice, but once you get this down, you're going to have an anytime, anywhere, creepy rising card miracle. My advice is work on the think of a card technique, apply that with the rising card, and you've got a real miracle.